Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Jen and I'm so glad you're here because today we are going through my Walt Disney World Disney Cruise haul, all the goodies that I got on my most recent trip, which I went on back in November. All the vlogs for that are already up on the channel, so if you haven't checked those out, make sure you do. I will leave them linked down below for you. I'll also be answering a bunch of your questions that you submitted over on my Instagram, or I also posted it here on the YouTube community tab. If you're not following me already on Instagram, make sure you do. I'll leave you my handle down here. It is at jen.maynard. I do a lot of live story posts there when I'm on my trips as well. So if you feel like following along, make sure you go and follow me over there on Instagram too. But anyways, for now, we are going to hop on into the haul and all the things that I picked up on my trip. Now let's start with some of the freebies. So of course, I stayed on site this time again, and I stayed at All Star Music, and they always give out the little free coffee packets. So I picked up some of the regular ones and I brought home some of the decaf ones as well. So I always like to have these when I come home. It's just like bringing a little bit of the magic at home and reminds me of being there at the hotel, and I just love having these. Then when I was on the cruise for Pirate Night, they give out these free Pirates of the Caribbean bandanas. I just loved them so much. I'll probably try and steam this one to get like some of the wrinkles and creases out, but I'm definitely going to keep these for future trips or even for like even Disney, and if I want to dress up or anything like that. I think that's just so great. In the staterooms on the Disney cruise, they also have a bunch of stationery that you're free and welcome to take. So I ended up bringing home one of these postcards. It has Mickey and Minnie on there on the Disney cruise outside by the funnel. And I just love that picture so much. My sister ended up keeping the other one. I think it had a picture of the ship on it, but these are free to take and you can even use them to mail to someone, a special someone. One of my favorite things I think I found when I was at Epcot was this awesome t-shirt. It is so retro, and I love the way that the Epcot looks on there. It has like 1982, which is when it opened, and then the like retro Epcot Center with the spaceship Earth there, and Walt Disney World at the bottom. I wasn't like totally in love with the color, but like I think it'll look okay, I think. But I just loved it. I love the design so much, and it also gives like already kind of like a worn look to it because it is kind of like faded up here and everything. So I just was immediately gravitated towards it, and I'm definitely going to be wearing it on the next time I'm in Epcot. My other goal on this trip, I had two goals actually. One was to pick up another plushie, which I didn't end up doing because I just didn't have enough room in my carry-on luggage, unfortunately, but definitely on my next trip, I'm going to make sure I have a check bag so I can bring home more stuff. But it's probably a good thing that I don't always have that much space in my luggage, or else I would spend way too much money. But I was able to pick up the other thing that I really wanted, and it was one of the Discovery Series mugs from Starbucks. And because I went to Epcot, I ended up getting the Epcot mug. I absolutely love the color, the design. It is just so lovely. And Epcot might be like my favorite park right now. It's always such a close tie between like Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and then there's other things from in Hollywood Studios that I really like, and Animal Kingdom. So I'm just very undecided right now what my favorite park is, but I love the design of this. I love the color. I love how it has like Figment and Test Track on there. It has like Journey of Waters on there now too. So I am just so happy I have this now, and I am definitely going to pick up the rest of these. I need Animal Kingdom still in Hollywood Studios, so I'm hoping that they still have like the same series and I can pick up the rest, pick up the other two the next time. Since we were so close to Christmas when we were going on the cruise, I decided to pick up a Christmas tree ornament, and it was this one, and it is the Disney Dream with Mickey on there. And I believe it's the 25th anniversary collection for like Disney Cruise Line that they had, and they were basically all their like 25th anniversary stuff was on clearance, so this was super marked down. Since Christmas is coming, this would be like a great memento from the trip, so I'm going to put this on the tree, and it'll be a great way to look back and just remember that we were on my first Disney cruise on the Disney Dream. We also love to collect magnets. We will usually either get a magnet or like a bottle opener on every trip we go on. So they didn't really have too much of a selection actually, to be honest, but I did find one, and it's this magnet that we got, and it says welcome aboard on there with Mickey and Minnie and the ship. So I just thought that was cute, and it was what I was looking for, and this will be another great reminder of the trip. Now for some pins. I didn't go too crazy, but there always are specific pins that I'm going to get on every trip, either when I'm going to Disney World or on the ship, or like on a cruise ship. And it's usually where I stayed. So for when I was in Disney World, this time I stayed at the All-Star Music. So I picked up the All-Star Resort pin. I'm kind of sad that they don't have a pin for each specific All-Star Resort, like All-Star Sports, Movies, Music. They just have this like generic one, which I guess is fine, but I'm hoping that maybe one day they will make like an individual pin for each resort. And this one, I saw this pin and I was immediately like getting teared up, because this time I went by myself until I met up, and I went with my sister on the cruise, but I was by myself in Disney World, and I missed Alex so much. So when I saw this pin, I was like, I need it, because it is just reminded me of him, and it's just such a perfect thing and moment. But anyways, here it is. This is the pin. And it says like, my happy place is with you, and it's with Mickey and Minnie, and they're looking at the fireworks, and it's just so cute and romantic, and I loved it so much. And I even texted Alex when I saw it, and I was like, I have to get this. And he's like, yeah, you definitely do. So I'm so glad to have this pin in my collection now, and it's just adorable. I love it. There were a bunch of sales on pins when we were on the ship. I don't know why they were having so many sales, but it was mostly of the princesses. And I saw this one of Rapunzel with her hair cut, which I think is rather rare in the like a tangled pin. Usually she has her long hair, but I thought, I was like, all right. You know, it was on sale, and I was like, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity to get a pin on sale. So I picked up her. She's one of my favorite princesses, and Tangled is like one of my most favorite Disney movies out of like the new movies that have come out recently. And of course, the quintessential pin that I had to get for being on the Disney Dream was this one. So it had the Disney Dream on there, and you have Sorcerer Mickey. He moves a little bit. I didn't realize that at first, but that's no big deal. Usually I don't gravitate towards pins that move, but this one was fine. I just thought it was nice, and it was a great way of seeing the ship. Like, I definitely wanted a pin that had like a picture of the ship on there, and having Mickey on there was just like an added bonus as well. So I really like this pin. And then when we went to the first island, Lookout Key, I of course wanted to get a pin to commemorate being there. So I got this one. They had a few other pins, and I found that these were going like hotcakes, so they're very popular. So I'm just happy to have gotten this one. I always like to get a pin for, you know, wherever we've been. I didn't get one though that says Castaway Key on it. Like I mentioned in the vlogs, I couldn't find any. All of the pins that were there said like Castaway Key 5K, and like I didn't run or walk the 5K, so I didn't feel right getting the pin because it's not something that I did, and they didn't have any other pins. So I ended up just getting a magnet, and I ended up giving that to my mom for Christmas. So maybe next time, hopefully there's a next time when I'm on Castaway Key, they will have more pins there for me to get. So that is I guess it's like a mini haul of all the stuff that I got on my trip, but I just love everything so much. And I always just like getting at least a couple things anytime I go on a trip, just because it's like that added reminder of, you know, what you experienced on the trip, what you did, and it just brings me joy again every time I see it. Like the mug, for example, I'm probably going to use that every day. I already use the Magic Kingdom mug I got on my last trip every day. And the pins, I have them above where I work every day from home, and I get to look at them, and it's just a great reminder of the trip and brings it back the memories. So I love doing that sort of stuff. But now I'm going to answer some of the cruise questions that you submitted to me, starting with the first question. And I just have my laptop over here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. The first question is, how does it compare to a Disney World vacation? So this is a great question, because I was actually very curious myself to see how it would compare. And the best way I can describe it is it's much more laid back, and there's like less of this urgency. So you're on when you're on the ship, you're there, and I wouldn't say there's like, it's not like there's not as much to do, but it's just like less of like a crowd situation where you like feel like you have to get there quickly or else there's going to be too many people or you're not going to get to do something, because the way that everything is, there's a schedule, everything is timed. Usually you can have the opportunity to see things multiple times. There are a couple experiences where you do reserve ahead of time, like the Royal Gathering, like we did. So if like seeing characters and princesses like that, you can reserve ahead of time, but you might miss out on it if you don't get the reservation. But I just found it is just more relaxing, much more chill, but you're still getting that Disney atmosphere and Disney service, which I really, really liked. Next question is, what's the next dream trip, Disney or non-Disney related? Well, most recently, my next dream trip would be actually to go back to Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea. Recently, I feel like Tokyo Disney has just really exploded in popularity, and I'm finding that a lot of people are going there more and more, either for the first time or again. And I went there back in, I think it was 2016. But this was before I was doing YouTube. It was before I like would take a lot of pictures and like document everything. So I do have like some video and like some pictures, but I just would love to go back because Fantasy Springs wasn't open when I was there, and there's been a few other changes that I would just love to go back and see. And plus I was only there for one day. We only went to Disney Sea. I never went to Tokyo Disneyland or even Disneyland Paris. That would be, I really would like to branch out and go to the other Disney parks that I haven't been to yet. The next part of this question was non-Disney related. So my ultimate dream trip would be to go on an African safari. I've always wanted to do that. I would love to, see the animals in their natural habitat and everything like that, and just be able to, be around all of those animals. I am a huge animal lover. I have loved animals all my life. I grew up watching nature documentaries and David Attenborough and everything like that. So I would just love to experience that. Then the other thing is like, I really want to get a really good camera if I'm going to go on that sort of thing, because I want to be able to take like really good pictures of the animals, where if I'm just taking like my phone camera, I feel like it just wouldn't do it justice. Maybe one day I will get over there, but I don't know if that's anytime soon. But I have a ton of other places on my travel bucket list that I want to go to before I, or while I'm able and healthy enough to travel. Next question. How did the food compare to non-Disney cruise food? So the food on Disney Cruise, I found it to be pretty comparable to the food that you can get in Disney World. I would say like the sit down area, like the rotational dining that you had on Disney Cruise would compare to, say, something like, depending on which restaurant you go to, like Le Cellier. Whenever we got steak, like it was to that extent. Or like I had chicken that I probably could have gotten at one of the restaurants in Disney Springs, which was really, really good. And I did love the fact of the portion sizes. For me, they were perfect. Someone else who is like a bigger eater might have found it not to be enough. But the nice thing about Disney Cruise is that you can order as much as you want. So if you wanted to get another entree, you could totally get another entree and not have to pay extra for that. For the buffet food, I'd say it was exactly the same as what you could get at like Crystal Palace buffet or any of the buffets on Walt Disney World property. Same with like the quick service meals that you can get like at the Disney resorts and that. The buffet was very similar. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to try any of the other like hamburgers and hot dogs and that sort of thing that were on the ship. On the island though, again, I didn't, like I talked about this in the vlogs, and like I have a thing with temperature, and I guess it's just the way they're transporting all the food in that, it just, or the way that it would sit out, I'm not really sure, but it never was up to temp for me, so that was kind of a letdown. But as far as like that food quality for the buffet portions, it's just like your, standard quick service, like average. Like think like ABC Commissary or like Pico's Bill or like those type of foods that are still really good. It's just, not gonna like blow your mind or anything. But I should also say that I am a very picky eater, and also Allison and my nephews were vegan. The vegan aspect was a bit more difficult. I found that Disney Cruise isn't quite as good with the dietary restrictions versus allergies. They're great with allergies, but dietary restrictions is a little bit more difficult, especially if you're looking for only specific things. versus Walt Disney World, you know, you go and they will have exactly what you need, sort of thing. They have, I guess they have access to a lot more, whereas the cruise, they only have kind of what's available on the ship at the time. So that can be a bit of a struggle. Palo was much more upscale, so it would be like one of the signature dining experiences that you would have on Walt Disney World property, like California Grill or Narcoossee's or Citricos, like that sort of atmosphere. So I feel like the upcharge for Palo is definitely worth it at only $50 a person for all that amazing food that I got. Totally worth it, because when you compare it to other cruise lines and their upcharges for like their steakhouses and that, it's unbelievable, right? So it's a much more value for money. Like, yes, you are paying more for the Disney cruise overall, but I think, in my opinion, the value of that you're paying for the cruise is worth it for the quality of the food that you're getting on the ship. The next question I got a couple of times actually, and it's, would you recommend a Disney cruise for adults? Would it be fun without kids? I can say without a doubt, 100%, it would be so amazing without kids. If you're gonna go on a Disney cruise and you don't have kids, and maybe you're not a Disney fan, like a big Disney fan and that sort of thing, and you're looking for a different experience, it'd be hard to justify paying that cost for a Disney cruise, just because you are paying for like that Disney name, the Disney brand, that whole experience, right? So I might not recommend a Disney cruise for adults that aren't, you know, big Disney fans, or who just want to dip their, you know, feet into that whole world. I would probably recommend them to do like a Disney World trip first, or Disneyland trip, just to see if they like it, if they like that atmosphere, that whole way of Disney, before they, you know, pay that money to go on a Disney cruise. But if you are a Disney fan like me and you don't have any children, or they're all grown up and they're gone, and now you're like, hey, I want to go on a Disney cruise without my kids, I would say absolutely go for it. You will not be disappointed. There is so much for adults to do on a Disney cruise. Yes, the kids clubs are amazing. Yes, it's great for kids, but there's also a whole adults only section. They have this whole section of the ship where there's like lounges and bars and a whole like outdoor area where you can sit. There's the spa, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, I didn't get to try the spa, but I really, really wanted to, because this trip was, you know, more kid focused because we were with kids. But I would love to go on another Disney cruise, just me and Alex, to enjoy the adult aspect of it. I'd love to be able to go to the bars and like try some of their drinks. There's also adult only events. There was mixology classes, there was bingo, there'd be like disco, like silent disco at night. Like, you can see it on the app. There was a bunch of stuff that were only for adults to do, and it could be harder to do some of these things with smaller children. You could still do them, you know, if you have your kids in the kids clubs. I wouldn't necessarily say to go on a Disney cruise if you're looking for like an adults only trip, or if you're someone that like hates kids, because there's still going to be kids on there. Like, absolutely, you're going to see kids, and they're going to be there, especially if you're doing the rotational dining and everything like that. So it's not like you can fully avoid it. If you're looking for like more adults only experience, I would definitely look at a different cruise line. But if you are a Disney fan and you're okay with kids, I would just say 100% book it. The cost of the cruise is so worth it, and I would 100% go on it again. In fact, I'm hoping to do an adults only cruise with Alex sometime in the near future. And then finally, the last question is, biggest piece of advice for a first-time Disney cruiser. My biggest advice is to familiarize yourself with the online check-in process. So when you're a first-time cruiser, the online check-in will open 30 days prior to sailing, and you'll want to be on there right at midnight Eastern Standard Time when it opens. There are a few documents that you will need for the online check-in. They're very particular, like certain passport style photos. You want to have all your like travel documents in order, because you have to upload those. And the quicker you can get through that online check-in and like answer all the questions, the quicker you'll get to that port arrival time area where you can choose it. Now, the port arrival time, you won't choose it if you're taking a Disney Cruise Line transfer from like a hotel, because they will basically decide when you'll get picked up for you and and then that's the time that you'll get to the port and get on the ship that way. But if you don't have a cruise transfer arranged, that's when you will need to select your own port arrival time. The way I did it is I made sure I had headshots of everyone on the desktop of the computer I was going to use for the online check-in, and then I also had pictures of like the passport and travel documents that I was going to upload on my desktop as well, all in folders, all labeled, super organized. So then when I was doing it and, you know, getting stressed and all bleary-eyed if I was like really tired, I'd just be able to like drag and drop those really, really quickly. So with that, the way I did it, I had no issues with getting my photos approved. Everything was uploaded just fine, and everything was accepted. So I think it's just really important to be really prepared for that if your port arrival time is very important to you. And then a side note for a piece of advice is if you want to do any extras like Palo or any of the mixology classes or anything like that, they do sell out extremely fast. But one thing I didn't realize is that with Disney, you don't have to pay up front for any of the extras. You will be charged for those once you're on board after you have that experience, and then you pay for it before you get off the ship. But if Palo is important to you, which it was for me, the day that I was able to go online, and I think it's different from actually when you do your online check-in, I think it's 60 days before you can like choose all your like cruise activities and any extras that you want to get. The day that I was going to go on and do that, the site went down for maintenance. It wasn't working. It didn't work. I tried to stay up for like an hour to see if it would come back up, but it didn't. I guess everybody else was in the same boat as me, but some people even stayed up even longer to do it. So I ended up going back to sleep, and by the time I woke up the next morning, everything was gone, unfortunately. A couple weeks later, you know, I was just checking through the app, and I got lucky. Some more reservations opened up, so I was able to book it. So if something is sold out, keep checking, don't give up. Things will come back up, and there's always the chance too of like when you get on the ship that spaces will open up as well. Just do that first thing as soon as you get on board is go straight to guest services or wherever they're doing the like dining setup. I think for us it was like Enchanted Garden. There'll be like desks set up. Go there right as soon as you get on the ship, and hopefully things will get all sorted for you when you do that. I hope that I answered all of your questions. Those are all the questions that I got. So to those of you who sent them in, thank you so much. And again, yes, I hope I answered everything. But if you do have any other questions about the cruise, about Walt Disney World, or anything Disney related, please leave a comment down below and I'll answer them down there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found it fun and useful with the questions. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye everyone!